Right, so you can see in this demonstration that the blocks that are close to me are blurry, even though I'm looking at them. And the reason why that is because I have the focal length set to 10 units. I have it set as a hard code because if I set it as a true focal depth, I do have to save this, and I reload the program, you can see that it becomes completely blurry and even crashes sometimes. So when I'm looking at these blocks near me, it's just completely blurry. But when I look at the sky, it works. So I have this bug that I have to fix, and that's what I'm going to do. I fixed the focal depth issue, as you can see, just simply clamping the focal depth between one in the view distance. I implemented different colored voxels now, so I was able to successfully bring back grass and dirt, and there is stone underneath the dirt. And I can also play around with the parameters for each block. So you can see I've made the grass block a 1/3 slab. And when I incorporate block placements or voxel placement into this new system, what you can see is that I now have miniature voxels and it creates a unique block in the world. Essentially, how it works is when you place a voxel, it checks if that block, that combination of voxels, that structure of voxels already exists in the hash table of blocks on the computer. And if it does exist, then it just simply replaces the block that you are currently placing the voxel on with the new block. Otherwise, it'll create a new block and then replace it with that new block. However, there is one small discrepancy with this, and you can see if I try to place it on the side of a block. So this is, I would actually be placing it in the block that I'm standing on. You can see that it actually replaces the edge of that block. And the reason why that's happening is I'm simply missing a check to see if I'm actually supposed to place it in the block next to the the voxel as opposed to the block the voxel is in. So I'm home now, and when I go to run the application, what you can see is that the application freezes, and my theory is that I'm doing some sort of undefined behavior, something wrong. And since I'm on an NVIDIA GPU, it happens to break on NVIDIA GPUs, but it works on my laptop because that's an AMD GPU. So I come to find that when I return early from the script that builds the world, it, as you can see, works. It works. And different than the script that built the world, the function that actually does the world generation is when I disable that with that line there, you can see that it also works. Okay, so I changed the way I'm hashing the block data a little bit, and I also essentially created a dual purpose function. This function already existed in this aspect where it loads the block data, but I also made it so that if it's air or void block, then it just automatically says the voxel is, this should be voxel ID void. And if I go into here, I'm going to start defining voxel IDs, and that will be 0. And I go into the application, what you will see is that it works. However, when I get close to the ground, it completely freezes. Okay, so I changed some checks for the raycasts, added another check, essentially dealing with whether or not the raycast was a failure, and you can see it's now working. However, you can see the edges of the blocks. Okay, so right here I just had to check for success of the raycast, complete the raycast, and if the ID of the block that we just hit is different than the block we started with when we're doing the raycast through the blocks in order to find voxels, then I break, and otherwise if the raycast is a failure, like it went out of bounds, it went too far, or it's taking up too much processing power, then it breaks again. And what you can see is it now works, and placing miniature voxels also works, so I will do that in 4K for you, or 1080p is what the video is in. And it seems the focal distance is not working, so I just had to make one adjustment in order to re-enable the focal distance. That was not correct, but I'm going to continue iterating upon these miniature voxels, and hopefully we'll see some fantastic results from this. Really great details possible now. Thank you for watching, and of course, if you liked this video, please leave a like, a comment, even subscribe if it means so much to you. And remember, stay pogeranian.